A long time ago, in the land of Judah, there lived a woman named Naomi. She had a husband and 2 sons, and they lived happily in Bethlehem. But a terrible famine swept across the land, and there was not enough food to eat. So, Naomi and her family moved to a distant land called Moab, hoping to find a better life. In Moab, Naomi's sons grew up and married 2 local women, Orpah and Ruth. For a while, they lived peacefully, but tragedy struck Naomi's family. First, her husband died, and then both of her sons passed away. Naomi was heartbroken. She had lost everything dear to her, and the land of Moab no longer felt like home. One day, Naomi heard that the famine in Bethlehem had ended and there was food once again in her homeland. She decided to return to Judah. As she packed her things, her 2 daughters-in-law, Orpah and Ruth, offered to go with her. But Naomi, knowing how hard life would be in Judah, told them, "Go back to your families, my dear daughters. You are still young. You can remarry and find happiness in Moab. I have nothing to offer you." Orpah wept and kissed Naomi goodbye, deciding to stay in Moab. But Ruth clung to Naomi, refusing to leave her side. With deep love and loyalty, Ruth said, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried." Naomi was deeply moved by Ruth's words. She realized Ruth's love for her was stronger than any hardship. Together, they set out on the long journey back to Bethlehem. When they arrived in Bethlehem, the people recognized Naomi and were surprised to see her return. But Naomi was still full of sorrow. "Don't call me Naomi," she said. "Call me Mara, for the Almighty has made my life very bitter." Life in Bethlehem was not easy. Naomi and Ruth had no money and no way to support themselves. But Ruth, full of determination, decided to help. She went to the fields to gather leftover grain behind the harvesters, a common practice for the poor. As she worked in the fields, a kind and wealthy man named Boaz noticed her. He was impressed by her hard work and devotion to Naomi. Boaz asked his workers to protect Ruth and leave extra grain for her to collect. When Ruth returned home with her arms full of grain, Naomi was overjoyed. She realized that Boaz was a relative of her late husband, and this could be a sign of God's blessing. Naomi devised a plan to secure Ruth's future. She told Ruth to visit Boaz in secret at the threshing floor and ask him to be her guardian redeemer, a person who could marry her and protect their family's inheritance. Ruth trusted Naomi and followed her instructions. When Ruth approached Boaz, she said, "Spread the corner of your garment over me, for you are a guardian redeemer of our family." Boaz was moved by her kindness and loyalty, both to Naomi and to him. He promised to do everything he could to help. Boaz fulfilled his promise. He married Ruth, and their love brought joy and peace to Naomi's heart once more. In time, Ruth and Boaz had a son named Obed, who would one day become the grandfather of King David, one of the greatest kings of Israel. Through Ruth's faithfulness, Naomi found hope again, and Ruth became part of a lineage that would lead to the birth of Jesus, the Savior of the world. Moral of the story: the story of Naomi and Ruth is a beautiful example of love, loyalty, and faith. Even in times of hardship, Ruth's commitment to Naomi and Naomi's trust in God brought about blessings neither of them could have imagined. It reminds us that when we care for one another and trust in God's plan, even the hardest times can lead to great joy. The end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.